What's up, everyone? We're back today. So today was choppy. Look at this. This is not a good day, guys. Like you could look at this and be like, "This was today." So today was a little bit tough. Today manageable though, manageable, but could have gone south. However, this is due from discipline. I was up on these calls for IWM because they did get in a little bit cheap, and I would have been up like maybe $100. And then I kept on holding because I feel like it would go higher based on the price action. And then for these puts, I got in a little too high as well. And then this put right there was the starter one. This 260 put was the starter. Then it followed by the calls, which I'll go over, and then the put afterwards. And then the SPY put, which is from the 0DTE guy, um, which I'll show you guys what he put out. And I took it as a base hit. I was like, I want a base hit. I don't mind a base hit. I feel like the base hit does get you like, a warm up. So what was happening? Well, honestly, we have our PCE data. So inflation's rising, and there's some other stuff. Banks were selling off. A lot of equities were selling off. But the thing is, throughout the pre-market, we were already selling off like crazy. So if we had started off at 264, I think today would have been an easier day to make profit. But today it was just really, really choppy. And I'm trying to figure out, how do I make this work? How do I figure out when is a choppy day? Now, we had a lot of overhead resistance from the 200 moving average, but the view app was down here. So I don't know if that has a factor in if a day will be choppy or not. And then we'll also look at the 4-hour chart. So look at the 4-hour chart. We were starting here at the 4-hour chart, at the very top of the EMAs, and we were already, at this 200 moving average. We already had flushed, and I was like, well, this makes me more cautious that we're gonna start for a reversal, and we are starting to reverse a little bit. But today was more of a slow bleeding day, and it just, I don't know. So first thing in the morning, I'm like, okay, let's wait, let's see what's going on. I think today will be a put day. I'm more confident than not, but since we're at the 200 moving average, we're already at 200 moving average at the 4-hour, and then I'm like, I don't know. And then we have strong support 259. So we have 259. I'm like, this is where I could see this double bottom at 259.77. We'd hit that earlier this week. This is why it's very important to look at your previous days, maybe weeks, to see where you have the strongest support. You see, earlier this week we also hit 258, which was another support level the week prior. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, we could double bottom here, and we did. We didn't go under this level at all. This held. So seeing how, hold on, things. Okay, it just froze on me. Seeing how this was already flushing out initially in the beginning, I was like, I'm gonna wait because we could easily see a recovery. Now the sentiment's still mixed with all this Iran stuff, and I drew a trend line. Let me close out one tab. I've had these tabs going up the whole time, so I haven't really like given my computer a rest. Let me get a sip of coffee. I'm just waking up just now. Yeah, I know it's 12:50. I'm just waking up. So, oh, it feels so good. So seeing how this dipped, and at the 5 minute, I'm like, okay, okay, that's weird. All right, give me one moment. I don't know what I just did. Whatever. Anyways, forget about that. So we dip down, and I see we're starting to reverse. This big reversal is what I was like, whoa, okay, well, I was sort of expecting sort of a reversal since we've already been selling off, and I just felt everything was too extended. Puts were already up by around 700, 500% from the previous day. So you had to place puts from the day prior, which, they were at 266, 265. And hold on. All right, sorry about that, guys. My grandma's making my food. I had to tell him just to hang on a bit. Anyway, so the 1-hour chart, we have this 1 hour here, and we're already down. Like, this was already way too extended. So I'm like, okay, buying these puts would be really, really high. So it got me wondering, like, what is going to happen today? Is today going to be a choppy day, or are we going to just reverse and recover all of the pre-market move? Now, I felt like I did size up a little bit too much within this next position. So initially the 260 puts, I got in We're gonna look here on the 1 minute. Before it started to go up, I was expecting a rejection at this level right here. I was like, okay, it's forming, a rejection, potentially. And so I got in this green candle, and it kept going higher. I see this MACD crossing over on the 1 minute, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna get out of my current position for the 260 puts and exit and switch to calls. So the calls I took, I don't remember, 262 calls. Now I think I was aiming for 261, but I think they were already too high. And this is what I mean. If you go out the money, further out the money you go, you're more at risk for a faster decay time. And I couldn't get in at 261. I think I told my brother to get in 261. I don't think he profited. I think he kept holding. So at this level, this would have been an ideal spot to add at 261s, but you can see we hit a rejection. And I was like, okay, we hit that rejection once. And I'm like, okay, I'm holding. And it goes down. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? Well, on the 5 minute, let's look at this 5 minute. On the 5 minute, we were going green. So I was like, okay, we're going green. We're seeing an increasing support. It did break through a little bit later. So we hit this top right here on the 1 minute, 5 minute, I mean. And then we flushed down. So as we flush down, we're still above this trend. It's going up. I'm like, okay, maybe we're seeing an increasing support. That's why I kept on holding. And it kept going again, and it rejected again. So that's when I got out. I'm like, okay, no, twice is already enough for me. I'm going to get out of my position, which I did over here. I got out of this position. As soon as it started to fall, I was like waiting for maybe potential bounce up, break through the 200 moving average. But no, the 200 moving average was the resistance. It was the wall. So I did get out for a loss at 250 right over here. And that's okay. The thing is not cooperating. It's lagging just a little bit. Should have restarted my computer before doing this, but it's okay. Anyways, so then that's when I segued into the 261 puts. So yeah, I got into 261 puts. These arrows when I entered. So I entered at this big red candle. We flushed, and I kept adding further and further. So with the first 262 calls, I got it at 5 contracts, and 5 contracts which was a total of 10. I should have stuck with 5. Starter should always be my 5 right now until I increase my account maybe another 1,000, where I can maybe start with 10 or maybe 6. They were a little bit cheap, but 5 and 10 is my sweet spot right now. But today going 5 would have been a little bit smarter, reduce the loss. But that's what happens when you size up too soon. I did have a winner, or I did have a loser as well, so that should have also been, that should have been a signal for me to be like, okay, just start small. Let's see where this is going. So I'm holding, and then 260, as we see on this 5 minute, at the 261, it wasn't breaking. I'm like, there's no way. So I'm looking at both my charts. I'm like, okay, 261, 61, that's the 200 moving average, that's the area of support, and it's pulling it up here, but then it's breaking because we're at the VWAP, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And it sort of dips, and as it dipped here, I couldn't get out. It immediately recovered, and I'm like, oh, fuck. So I'm holding still. I'm like, okay, maybe it's gonna do another rejection. It does another rejection, right? It flushes again, and I'm like, finally, I'm able to get out. So where did I get out? On the 1 minute, it was a lot of noise. I don't like to rely on the 1 minute too much. I like to do it more for entries and see if the trend will start to change. But I don't like looking at the 1 minute too much because that's just a lot of noise. You can see how back and forth this 1 minute is. All these candles were just crazy. So I got out around at 9:17, and I was already at work. So at this time, I was at work, guys, and I had to get out. I wanted to keep holding further. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna take it. I could have had a really big red day, guys. My red day would have been around possibly $600, but I was trusting that we were hitting this constant wall of rejection at this 200 moving average on the 1 minute, and it just kept going further. Well, the thing is, look at these candles, guys. Like the moment we would sink under the 200, the VWAP, this big candle would come in reverse, and then we'd reject again at the 200 moving average. We kept going up, and I kept trusting this rejection. I'm like, no, we've already double topped, already at that level. I don't think it's gonna work this time. It goes over 200 moving average, then boom, begins to sink further and further, and I'm like, oh wow, that's good. And this is where I couldn't get out because same thing. This candle reverses again, goes down, chops a little bit and goes up further for a couple minutes. And I'm like, what the hell? And then boom, immediately is when we get the nice landslide down. So yeah, just saw that lag. And then starting to reverse again, and then it just kept slow bleeding throughout the day. The best move right here was in the beginning. However, this was already risky. This first, I guess, like 10 minutes of the market, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, this I just couldn't trust it. I couldn't trust that we would be reversing so quickly. Or yeah, I couldn't. I was just afraid that would happen. But this was honestly the better move. You get in, breaks through the first 5 minute candle, and you could get in 262 puts, and those would have profited. But coulda, woulda, should have. I gotta be grateful that I'm, red on the week. No, not red on the week. I'm red on the day, but green on the week still. My report is still printing out, and you can see it's still made a reversal, but we're not going up to those highs, not yet. We got about 2 minutes till market closes, so it's not going to happen. I'm still waiting for my report to come in, so on my Twitter, I'll post on how I've done on the month. It's officially been already a month since I've started this options trading, and I'm already up like I think about $1,800, $1,900, I believe. This week was a little bit rough, a little bit rough. Um, I think last week was a little worse, but this week has been okay. Today is probably the worst day just because of this choppiness. And, I'm also switching between the 15-minute chart. I was like, hey, what is the 15-minute chart? What is this communicating to me? And, still, same thing. It's still choppy. We had level rejection under 262 and then we broke, but it was a slow break. It wasn't your typical day with puts going down like an elevator. Now what I felt like was better, or why I felt like holding on to my puts was going to be worth it, was because of this 4 hour chart. The 4 hour chart is supporting a general weakness in the trend, but we're already at these support levels where we're going to start reversing. However, the support the support was kicking in, and then resistance, eventually like kept it like between this wall, back and forth between the VWAP and between the 200 moving average. At least on the 1 minute, it was like that, and then I was just like, I don't know, man, this is a little tough. Now I was also looking at this SPY as well. Yeah, my thing is fried, so it's moving a little slow, a little bit of delay. So SPY was a little different. SPY was already breaking through its high of day. And like I said, they're going to share the same sentiment. The candles were the same, like in terms of like, okay, if SPY would go red, so is IWM. They're going to share the same sentiment. However, the price action is going to be different because of the price level, and the equities are in the SPY index fund. Now, this already broke through the high and kept trying to go further, but same thing, this 200 moving average was that overhead resistance, but then this VWAP right here is what would keep it up. And on the 1 minute is right here, this whole area on the 1 minute, it just kept it afloat on the VWAP. The VWAP just kept us up. It didn't want it to break, and then I don't know. I think just today was just tough. So I think going forward, I want to see how the typical profile of a choppy day would be, and if that is the case, if we have a VWAP at the bottom and we have 200 EMA at the top, then that could potentially spell for a choppy day. So lower the size, wait for a true break, not holding through these false breakouts, false breakthroughs. Yeah, it was crazy. So the Rocket Lab calls. So the puts, I was down. I was thinking about going 70s, but I didn't want to risk the capital because you never know. Earnings are always like 50-50. They can go up heavily or they can drop like crazy. And then these did drop to about 64. Let's see. Yeah, so it went to a low of 64.10, which is good. This is exactly what I'm waiting for. This is the only stock that I will want to load up a bit of calls for a little bit longer term. What I'm chasing is this 200 moving average right here. I want this to go down, start to consolidate like it did here in December, and then have it really break through and make really good moves, because this is a very volatile stock and I would have profited a lot. And I want to do it again, and I think it will work. I know it will work. Price action does not typically lie until otherwise, until fundamentals, completely take it over. But hey, the fundamentals or the technicals on this was okay. We've been having rejection at these EMAs here. We're underneath the 50 EMA. I just think we had too much rejection, too much resistance, and the overall market conditions were not helping that as well. But it's okay. So we're down today, but we're green on the week, and I'll show you guys the, I guess, profile. Maybe I'll post it on my YouTube and see. Yeah, I think I'll post it on my X on YouTube so that way you guys can all see how it's looking so far. No trading on the small cap stocks as of today or yesterday. So we'll take a look at that right now. So the only thing I took was on the 25th. So this is how it should be then for small caps. And the reason why, one, I'm being put more towards the options. Even though today was a choppy day, there's still, time to make money. Or there was still opportunity to make money, but it's about that timing because contracts could be at 54 cents and then you can get in because they're going to be cheaper. As the day goes on, these contracts will burn out because they decay. So now, there's always opportunity in the options. I feel like that's why I like it more, but I prefer the small caps because it's quick execution and it does require a specific profile. And I think when you know that specific profile of stocks, low flow, good news, good market conditions for the small caps, it'll work. This is what it should look like. So I guess on the days that I'm red, big red, no trade day here, no trade day there, no trade day there. This, could have been a different month, but we only traded once this week and we came out $19. No red. So this is the type of discipline I need for these types of small cap stocks. And like I said, options are, really pulling me towards them, but I still like small caps because I want to capitalize on the opportunity. Opportunities there, and I'm an advocate for all of it. And it's a way to make money, so why not? And I'm going to do it because you know I need to pay for things, and I want to have a comfortable life, and I will. I really believe in myself, guys. I know it's not easy. Trading's not easy. Today it was going to be a little bit hard today. It was close. I'm down 120, but manageable. Could have been 600. But at the end of the day, I believe in myself. I believe in my strategy. I believe how this strategy will work and the process of it. And, I'm learning too. So each day is a day to learn where it's like, okay, now I got to write a reminder. Okay, take only starting position of 5 contracts. That is your starting position on these choppy days. What am I looking for these choppy days? Stop losses. What am I setting at? I'm setting the stop losses if there's a real change in direction, which we were not seeing today. Like today, we did not see a complete takeover. And, I was ready to sell. I really was ready to sell for a big loss. You know, any day, any day, or any given minute moments in this area, could we have started to really start to rally? What if we broke through? And we broke through these, high of the day. The high of the day today was like, I think 260, 275, and we kept going up to 263. That could have been the reality today, but it was not. And I just was holding. I was trusting my technicals, and I was ready to take a loss. And that's the risk of trading. Reality of trading is those losses. So today, I did get lucky. I did get lucky. Um, Hold on. Yeah, I got lucky today. And I'm going to admit it. So now I got to be careful because we could see this type of action next week. Next week is a new month, new sentiment. Maybe we'll see. Hopefully, you guys have had a good week, and hopefully, you guys are just, having fun. Have fun. I'm having fun. It was stressful, but I have fun. All right. Peace, guys.